Who
Yeah,
are you?
so hi, I'm Harry. I'm business development manager for Trackstack. I basically deal with all the outreach, dealing with artists day to day, labels, management companies, and everything in between. So I go all the way from reaching out to people for an inbox or whether they have a full organization management account, and basically relationship builders. I'd say is probably the best phrase to sum up what I do. Like we just spoke about, growing networks, building relationships with people, and yeah, that's basically what I do day to day. I'm working on partnerships as well.
So you speak to a lot of DJs, labels, managements, like all those things.
Yeah, yeah, day to day. So yeah, it's every day is different.
Of
That's
course.
probably the best way to put it. It's yeah, it's an amazing job. Obviously, I've been in the music scene for 10 years of my own artist career, and I think since I've started growing these connections has massively boosted me forward. Just from the connections that I've got, and I think once you start building relationships with people, then you build more relationships because the word spreads about like how much you help people and the way that you work with people and how you hold yourself. So yeah, that's been really really positive. No, it was last week as well. Obviously, Luke was speaking in regards to the sending process and obviously the marketing side. But to this week, I really want to get into like the building relationship side and like how to actually develop relationships and what you do actually after you send your music out. So if you want me to get started on that, I'll start with the track stack side of things and how it's helped me, and obviously where I'm going with my artist career and stuff at the moment as well.
Please, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's why we're here.
Um, so yeah, I think best place to probably start is I'll leave off from where Luke did last week, where he left off, which is obviously sending music out. And I know he briefly touched upon like sort of ways to get on people's radars, but I think my personal experience and from people that I've spoken to that have had great success through using Trackstack, I think when you've actually sent the demo, it's really, really just the start. And I think a lot of people get to this stage and they think like completed, that's it now. I need to like I can just stop and make more music. But I think actually having to nourish and grow relationships is like one of the key things. I've used my obviously what I've sent to you in the past, team. I know you mentioned it on the call last week. I really appreciate the support on some of my tracks, and I think that from my perspective, it's always like quite scary to reach out to somebody that you sort of look up to, and you always think like in the back of your mind like, oh, they're just going to reject this, or they're not going to like it, or they're going to think I'm terrible, or like my music's not good enough. And it's I think that's always like a stage which just human nature for you to be worried about this sort of stuff because the body doesn't and the brain doesn't like change. But I think like just actually owning it and the things that you're scared of, you should push yourself into more. I'm a strong believer of. So like when I sent you the messages, like originally was can you help me mix vinyls because I just bought a vinyl setup, and I was sort of a bit like, there's no way that Timo Maas is going to ever teach me vinyl. And straight away you replied, I really appreciated it. He was like, do you want to jump on a quick call? And we had like a 30-40 minute call just discussing that. And then from there I started sending you music, and obviously you really liked it. And yeah, like I say, I appreciate the kind words. I think if I would have been scared and not sent it, I think we wouldn't be obviously where I am now with it. And
But am
obviously
I
the
a scary
relationship.
person? Yeah, but that's the
No,
thing.
no.
That's the thing. What I mean, you are constantly working on it. I know this myself. I don't. It's I think especially music business. It's a very sensitive thing with these relations. You cannot just like run into everyone's door and say, "Whoa, here, here I am, and this is what I want." It's like it's important for me. It's a good example with you, Harry, because we meet on the business side of things, and then but then also you're an artist, and it just just a very good example. It's like you're approaching me, you come with something you're really convinced of, and I can hear that you work a lot on that. I mean, I just heard my latest Trackstack entries like 2 hours ago, and I mean, whole bunch of people are sending me, half cooked kind of like Afro house demos. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, I personally find it super interesting. And those people I find interesting, I am also looking to find a relationship with them. This is other guy, I look in a second what his name is. But what I said is rather experimental. Christian is also, I think, Christian, you would like the music actually that I discovered over there. It's like, I mean, it's super rare that I get, let's say, demos or anything like that. And I was checking, I was downloading like 8 tracks of the guy. And I don't do this because it's like, it's just, I have enough music. So I, of course, do a selection, but I have the opportunity there. Even it's not the same like listening to promos. There's a different intention when people send me via Trackstack something, but it's like, of course you have to love it, and then you have to have also the patience to, find something that also suits into your frame, or in my case, into my frame. And yeah, everyone knows I'm a bit more particular with my music and the things I like and the things I don't like. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just refreshing to have someone like yourself that's just so lovely and easy to talk to, and like that's kind of like I was saying about being scared of sending stuff. It's the same with anybody that you look up to, but to have it's so refreshing, like that you reply to things, you give feedback, and like that's the whole point of this call is like building relationships. And I think you can't really put a price on your network. And like from working with Trackstack for the last 2 years has just been mental. The connections I've grown, like I was having a conversation the other day with Patrick Topping, like over WhatsApp, and I used to go watching him 10 years ago and be like, I wish like I like just speak to this guy, and I've got him on WhatsApp and he's asking me favors and help. It's surreal to be honest. Like I still pinch myself some days thinking like, is this actually happening? I'm going to just wake up one day and it's not even real. So yeah, I think
I mean,
like I say,
one thing I can say, Harry, really, it's like, and that's my long time experience. I remember those days, let's say early 2000s, my career exploded, blah, blah, blah. And basically from one year to another, I was, hanging out with Fatboy Slim and, doing this and blah, 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 just as a name drop or so. It's just, I was there. And then it was in big parts very surreal. I can absolutely relate to that because I know but in the end of the day, most of these people who are famous in the music business are actually nice people. It's like they
yeah,
all, not all, but the majority of them came to the point where they are based on hard work. And we know, and I love this anyways. When it doesn't matter what kind of music, but when someone is recognizable, working hard for the dream and for the vision that the artist has, I think, this is something I always respect. I make no secret of that. I'm not a fan, but I am also not a supporter. But I respect David Guetta, for example. Ciao. I respect David Guetta, for example, for the simple reason I met him many, many years ago, and he had a target. He said in the early 2000s, and Eric Morillo was the biggest house DJ in the world. And I was in a meeting with a bunch of people, but also Mr. Guetta, and he was famous in France and so on and so on, but he was not where he is right now. And he said, I have the plan to become the biggest house DJ in the world. And this is my plan. And he worked really fucking hard. He did like in the summer months, especially, he did like the months had 31 days. So he had 31 gigs at least. So he was working every fucking day in every fucking club. And, it's like, he was really working hard. And he said from the beginning on, this is my sound. This is how I want to identify myself. I want to perfectionize. And my target is to become the biggest. And then, the people were, was management, agency, and so on. So they took him seriously, and there is a plan behind that, a plan of very hard working. It's no matter what, very hard work, dedication, and love to what you do is, identify yourself with what you do is the most authentic way, no matter what music you do. He's a
yeah,
hard worker, and I met him years ago that I met him the last time, but he was just like the person I met him in the first time, like super nice. Ciao. He was just a very nice person. It's like just a nice person, just like down to earth, polite and so on and so on. I like that.
yeah. I think it's the best when you find someone like that because a lot of people have been, well, everyone's been in the same position that someone else is at some point in the career until you get up there and you're one of the best. So I think just giving back and helping. I get people are busy and don't always have the time, but I mean, I now have people messaging me asking me to help with stuff, and I'll always give time to it if I've got it, just because I know I would really appreciate that if I was in their shoes. But yeah, like I say about the obviously when you sending stuff out, I think like just putting personalized messages as well. Like when you send it on Trackstack, it's the reason we don't have a bulk send is one of the reasons, because if you're just sending out like title as demo and then the caption is just like hope you like, I think this was touched on last week with Luke as well, but I found I didn't really get anywhere with these. I was just blank sending emails out to like 200 people at a time for probably over a year and not getting anywhere. And then
Mm.
when I started using Trackstack, then I started putting personalized messages to each person, and I found that like the rate of actual just even a reply or a bit of feedback was 10 times more from actually just putting a personalized message and just making it about them. Not just like I like your label, but maybe even talking about a release that you like, or just finding something that fits your sound as well. Because I know again last week you were speaking about, I think it was Dan was saying that people just send him tracks like even like Afro House and stuff that he knows he's not going to sign or play, then it's not a personable experience, and I think that you're not developing any relationships from that. So you put all the time and effort into producing and finishing a track and mixing and mastering it, and maybe you've worked on music for 10 years and you just send everything out in one slot and send it to 200 people to save time. I think you're just cutting that last corner that's really going to boost your career from actually developing those relationships.
I mean, I see, Justin, you just mentioned that like the personal thing is a super important thing in the whole thing. I mean, I'm only, was it now 2 months or so really on Trackstack, and every doesn't matter of the music, because first of all I read the message with that, and then I get like whatever 5 tracks from the same person, and 5 times it's a copy and paste text, nothing personal in it, and then I know already it's like something that is either a mass email of demos or just a promo mail. So I opened, I'm just to also get into the loop, so I opened for everything basically. And yeah, but it makes a big difference. It 100% makes a big difference already. It's, as I say, this is how I get my attention on the other guy, because said, hey Timo, I know it's like it might not be for your club stuff, but if there was a personal message,
Yeah.
and the guy knew about me, and obviously when someone does a bit of research, I appreciate that. And when this is connected with a good quality, there's the connection you're talking about. Because this is now, I have this guy, I have some music of him on my artist, and now I got him on my radar. Simple
Yeah.
as that. I got him on my radar in personal connection, personal approach, and quality behind it. So there are you. I mean, manifested. Let's say it like that. And whenever he's going to send me something in the future, I recognize him already, and I know. I'm curious. What is the guy doing right now? So the personal relationship, as you say and pray, Harry, is really the most important thing. And I mean, yeah, I can imagine with you in your position, it's overwhelming, because there's more. How do you approach nowadays? It's like you have such, I guess you have such a sick fucking network there. But I mean, how do you find new labels? How do you find new DJs? Are you researching that actively? Do you go into like certain music styles and say, hey, what's going on there? Beat pop, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it a lot of Trackstack, but going off feelings, and that's why it's such a good company to work for, because we haven't got people's sort of this like they ask you like what's the outreach strategy for this month, but it's not a case of like you've got a team of people that are saying I've worked in sales all my life, and when you've been like really pushed to get sales, I think it kind of kills the creativity and
Yeah.
kills that creative side of things. Whereas I often go off feelings, so I'll have a look through and see within like maybe techno's lagging or maybe drum and bass is lagging this month, and then I'll start going down that path. And then the more you research people like through the socials, or maybe you look at like an underground label or through Beatport or who's trending at the moment, then it takes you down a bit of a rabbit hole, and you can be there for 8 hours. Like that then links to a manager's email and an Instagram bio, and then you reach out to the manager, and then you have a conversation with the manager. So I had one the other day where I spoke to a guy that owns a management company, and I saw on LinkedIn that he was connected with this other guy that's Dead Mouse's manager. So I just messaged him again. I didn't want to ask for too many favors, but I was like, "Could you possibly put me into contact?" And he was like, "Absolutely." It's actually his wife that deals with her, and here's the contact details to contact her this way. So it's like nothing's chance with it really. It's more just using your intuition and just following the sort of trends and finding who's sort of hot right now, and then building those relationships up once you've reached out and had a good conversation with them.
I don't think it's an easy thing at all because in the end, do you see yourself as an A&R also? But in a way you are, right? You are
Ye-
A&Ring, the next kind of trends, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly that. And I also do some A&R work for a label as well, a Manchester-based label. So yeah, it's just consistently listening to music, and then yeah, obviously it
You must be
helps.
a very curious person, huh?
Yeah, well, it's I've even started my own label as well, so it's yeah, there's a lot going on.
1 second. It's
I'm
hail at
curious.
home. So we had sun, we had wind, we had rain, and now it's hail outside. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that on my mic, but it's really loud here.
I'm curious if anybody who's listening right now has some questions. Is that all right to take some questions, Harry?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Christian, you just said it should be good working in music as a passion, not like a classic business. I think this is a special thing about the music business. If you really want to succeed, be good, and being taken serious there, yeah, it's like, it's of course, in the end, it's a passion-driven thing. If you want to be really anyhow recognized, successful, or anything like that, it's a passion-driven thing. It's the extra, the thing, the one you said that to it. It's like to be recognized and also recognized by people like you, Harry. It's like, it's a lot of work. It's not just I made a cool track or something like that. It's a lot of work, and it's a consistent process.
Yeah, I think from my own personal experience, I used to have a sales job. I went to university, got a job working in sales, selling ventilation, and the job was quite chilled. It was a good salary, company car, and then I was doing my music on the side. But it got to a point where it was just so draining because that self that I was at the job wasn't me anymore. It was like I was two separate people. So I'd go to work, I'd be in my suit, I'd be speaking to people like I was really interested in ventilation and fans, when actually I'm going home then working till 4 a.m. just producing music all night. So it got to a point where the money and like the chill job wasn't worthwhile anymore for me, and I really needed to move into doing it full time and becoming from passion into a business really and a career, um,
Mm.
which at the time I didn't think was possible. Like I thought my music's not really making much money, and I'm a strong believer of if you can believe it and see it and you put the hard work in, you can definitely achieve something. And funny story actually, how I got the job at Trackstack was I was actively promoting them in all these group chats I was in with artists and labels, and I got a message off Cameron, the founder, basically saying to me like, "Why do you keep promoting us? Like, it's just such a nice thing, and I don't like why are you doing it for free?" And I just said, "I love the platform. I've used it for 2 years, and I just believe in it." And he came back and he was like, "Would you like it? I'll set you up with an account, like because you've done all this promoting for us. I'm happy to give you an account." And I honestly thought he was trying to scam me. So I had to check on that company's house. Like, was this guy who he was saying he was? I messaged a few friends. Like, do you know, is he really the owner? Or like, is this really happening to me? And then I sent him a WhatsApp message. I typed it out. I had it in the text box on WhatsApp for probably 3 days. It was basically 1,000 words of what I thought about the platform, things I'd improve, like what I liked about it, what I'd change about it, and ways I'd like improve to move forward and really like sort of improve the business. And again, I was a bit scared to send it. I thought like this guy's like the Bill Gates of Trackstack. Like, why would he want to speak to like hear what I've got to say? And I sent it in the end, and then he came back and just said, "Are you free for a call?" Rang me up, and then he offered me a job on the spot and said, "When can I start?" And I was like, "Today." So that was yeah, obviously a great story of how that happened. And again, I was working that in the evenings alongside my other job, just part time, and it just got to a point where it was just so draining. Like it wasn't, it was no longer just like a passion. It was like I could do this full time, and it was a real like career opportunity. So I met the guys in Barcelona and just got on like a house on fire. And it was funny as well. I believe in signs, and me and Cameron had the same phone case and the same shirt the night we met. So it's just weird. And then from there, offered me a full time position, and then I never looked back. Just quit my job, doubled down on working with them, and also my own artist career as well.
What I like when I can mention that, I mean, is two things about Cameron. I mean, I obviously, how long is this ago they took you on board with Trackstack?
It was a year ago in December, a year back in December, so just the December before the
Yeah,
last.
yeah. I mean, one thing I have to say about Cameron, he really is super dedicated, and he's totally down to earth. He really listens, and he really, he's happy to, share and approach, whoever that is, like on the same kind eye to eye level. And this is what I love. I've met different people in music business, and I'm very amazed of that. And another little side story, he's also attending our retreat basically for the whole week as a student, and which I absolutely love. So Cameron is not just like doing a workshop there. He's interested also what we are doing, and how we do the things, and so on and so on. And it's like he's I would say he's in a good position with everything, and so on and so on. So it's nothing he has to do. So if you do something that you want to do that, and we all appreciate, that we can share our daily base knowledge with also him. As I say, no ego. I really have to say, with the whole of your team, and I guess this is why we also want to grow more together, and so on and so on. Obviously, there's more behind that than just an announcement, and happy to be to work in such a professional and environment. Really, it's very good people with the right intention. Everyone's a music lover.
Absolutely.
A music lover. On our side also, everyone's a music lover. On our side, everyone's a producer even. And from your side too, and I absolutely love that, because we're talking in the same language, no matter what language we're actually talking. Right, Papa?
Cameron's amazing. Like, I owe a lot to Cameron for he's basically changing my life. And George, one of the other founders as well, he's amazing.
Like, awesome. Absolutely.
Two of the best guys that I've ever met. Like, not just to work for, it's like they are really, really, really good people.
Yeah.
It's just like with like I was saying before, there's never you need to do this, you need to do that. It's like everything you do, they'll back you 100%. I've had it before where I've had an idea, and within 2 days they'd coded it all, uploaded it to the website. If they believe in something, they'll go all in on it. And it's an amazing place to work. Like, I could not say anything, like I couldn't value it any higher than I do, because it's just amazing. It just feels like a family. It's like just like you can be working on something and they'll be like, why aren't you doing this for your artist career? Why don't you use that to help that, or use this connection here for yourself? And they're always not just looking out for you, like business wise and for the company, but also for your own personal career. And they really, really get behind you. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
With your experience, what do you feel might be the biggest mistakes, or the things that artists are not doing or should be doing in terms of building relationships, or what you see that's happening that might not be the best way how to approach building relationships?
So as I touched upon, I think bulk sending or putting the same message into every single submission that you do is probably the biggest thing that can go wrong with, really. If your track's amazing, I mean, it might still get signed, but having a personal relationship with someone, you just can't beat that personability. And as Timo said as well, as soon as someone's like, you've had a bit of a conversation with someone, you're on their radar. So if you're receiving 500 demos, promos a week in your inbox, and you see someone's name and last time they just put "hope you like," you're not going to remember that person again unless the music was amazing. But if they've reached out with something really personal, then straight as you see the name, you're like, oh, do you know what, I'm going to listen to that guy's track first because I remember him and I've got a relationship with him. So that'd definitely be number one. Number two as well, I'll just say supporting people, like sharing the content of a label that you like, or commenting, or even like purchasing the releases, things like that. It's always like goodwill, and it kind of does not get you in there, but I think people definitely remember the people that support them and comment on the posts rather than people that go a bit blank on this stuff because I was bad for it at the start. I'd send music out to people when I was really unsuccessful with it, and I wouldn't even be following that person on socials. It's like you've not really sent it out and really aimed it at that label. Then it's more you've just sent it to a load of different people, and I think people realise that. It's like with blank album copy emails, everyone knows straight away that that's been sent. So I think then probably the two of the biggest things, in my opinion.
I'm curious. Sorry.
Please, Maria.
Yeah, just for everyone watching right now, I'm curious if you want to share, what's your biggest challenge right now with building relationships or anything that comes up for you in that process?
From a personal, like an artist perspective.
Yeah, like for, I don't know, Laurent or Christian or Pavel or Memo, just to share the challenge if they have one in particular to see. I don't know.
I don't know, Pavel, what is your experience so far? I know you're producing a lot, and what is your strategy as like a user? Yeah, what is your strategy? How do you approach?
Hello, guys. I just want to say hello, everyone. I'm kind of the, let's say, old school or something. I never actually sent to the big label my email. I'm like actually was building the connection around it. Like people go to the events, and this kind of the way, actually, more organic way, to ask, for the release. And it's always happened like this. Like some happened with, like, for example, with Kevin Sanderson, that was during the production process. I booked him for production coaching. He listened my track. That was the lucky time. But normally my strategy is you have your list 100 top DJs. And send them music or them a manager. Where first email like, hey, I really like your label. I'm following, for example, something really personal. And ask them, where can I send you my music? If you send top 100 your DJs on your list, you would like they will be in the future play your music, maybe 10 will be answered, And then you can move from there because 99% of DJ is running label. So it's like...
they can be really busy. I think there's a lot of rejection involved. I think the thing is with sending out music is you've got to send a lot, and then the more you send, the more chance you've got of a reply. Like, especially if it's personalised. I think people expect to send 10 and get 10 replies, but it's just never going to happen. So I think, like I said, my first track I got signed, I'd sent 500 tracks out probably to different labels. And that was like just working out like what was right, what was wrong, and not getting feedback. But again, it wasn't personalised. When you start getting feedback from people, that's when you can really like double down and go, right, this is what I need to change about it. But it's just handling that rejection. I've got a lot of experience of it from outreach for trying to get people on board. So it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Christian says he's curious about how to personalize the email. Tell something about what they did recently or some tracks released. He sends demos to labels he knows and which fit to his music, but he doesn't go too long into personalization. So how to do that?
Yeah, the best way I would say is usually like when I'm making music, I'll always use like a reference track. So I'll be thinking of a label that I want to send to before I've actually even started the track. And if you then finish it and then obviously get it mixed mastered, ready to send it out, then I'll always kind of personalize it that way. I'll say, loved the release X, and this track off it I thought was amazing. It really resonated with me, and I've took inspiration from this, and then this is what I've come up with. I hope you like, and let me know what you think. And straight away, I think I've had a lot more replies through that where people have gone, oh wow, like this guy's took a bit of attention. He's actually used one of our tracks off the label to make something for himself and use it as inspiration, and that's sort of tenfold give me more replies through doing stuff like that.
This is how I built also. I mean, everyone has a little bubble of network, and this is how I built my network over the years too. So people I have a good relationship, people who trust me too. They know when I send something, if it's of myself or my team or even someone, let's say, outside my personal bubble. Also, it's like, it's like for me, it's important that I'm getting taken seriously. And this is how do you reach that, Christian? work and research. This is the most important thing. I mean, if there is like serious interest, and you're convinced of your music also as an artist, and it's greatly produced, and so on and so on and so on. It's like, it works like that. It just works like that. And whoever I got in my really, really, well, it's a big network. It's like, I got those people on the radar, as I say, even if it's a new artist, personal message, interesting music, got him on him or her on the radar. It's an automatic thing. It's an instinct thing. And this goes on, well, actually, since I am professional in this business. I mean, my network goes back into like the early 90s, really. Yeah. And since I'm still in connection with like quite a lot of people from the 90s, just because we have a good relationship. Sometimes we collide musically, we send each other something or so, but it's important. I mean, I've never been a different person, Harry. It's like, I'm always curious. I like to meet people. I like to share my energy. I mean, the people I work with, Laurent, Pavel, that I like to share my energy. I like to share my experience, and try to help people also to give them a different view, a more, just a different view. When you've seen many things and when you experience many positive and negative things, of course, it's like you have a different view automatically. A personal relationship, networking, and this is why we do Suru also, beside like the educational part, is the network. Is clearly the network. There has been already so much inspiration coming out of that, for each other, the collaborations and so on and so on. So everything is stronger than just sitting in your own bubble and just not knowing what to do.
Yeah, I think, like, say, you can't put a price on connections in your network.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've past experience as well. I know from sending music to friends is like pretty much all the time they'll say it's a good track, and I actually started testing it with some friends where, like, I'd say to them when I was out, I'd be like, "Oh, you always say my tracks are good. Like, surely not all of them are good." And then the next time I sent them something, they'd always like be trying to pick something about it that they didn't like just because I'd said that. So I think having like a community like with Sue, which is great. I think it's like being able to send it to like-minded artists is a great thing, because they'll give you feedback really that you really value, because they're not just saying they like it because they want you to be thankful and be happy that they said it. It's more like they'll tell you if it's good or they'll tell you if it's bad. Like,
yeah, it's I always say, it's a good example. It's different when your mates are just like clapping your shoulder and say, "Oh, Bob, it's a banger night," yeah. And they say this also because they love you as a friend, and so on and so on. But then again, when you have like-minded people, and we all learn every day how important it is to be just open. I mean, one is great in this part, one is great in that part, but be open for feedback, and also get the feedback from someone who's as nerdy as you are.
yeah,
I mean, and that's the best thing. I mean, that's the good thing also, or that's the best thing also about this collaboration. What we do is like, we kind of like, take care, try to, help people to make the best product of, not product, but artist, of themselves. And then when we created Suru, like the network technology and so on, we always seen this bottleneck. I mean, the bottleneck for me is also, I mean, I'm so long in this business, is always where to send my music to. Yes, I have the network, but does this cover the actual market? Does this cover really what can be covered? And this is where you come into the game, because you take this bottleneck out and you give the possibility. You have a great product, you have a direct channel with Trackstack. We help to create a great product. So this is why we are, all interested. You are interested in having quality also that gets delivered via your platform. We are interested that our students, members, artists, that they are the best version of themselves, as Dan always says, and create the best artistical thing they can do, really.
Yeah, but
Or
it's about
network.
about trusting the process as well. I think obviously getting the feedback, but also trusting the process, because I always say like the tracks that you spend the most time on, usually you'll think they're the worst. Just because even if you say your favorite song ever and you stuck it on a 4-bar loop for 12 hours, by the end of it you'd be sick of it. Like you just would not like it anymore. And I think like when you've sat there for so long on something and then you send it out and think, oh, this is not good, no one's going to like it, and then usually that's the best one that everyone says, oh, it's the best thing you've ever made, and I'm just like really? And then you just realize how long you've spent on it. It's just you're just sick of it. So I think you've got to just trust the process and then just send it out and see if people like it, and just have a bit of belief in yourself, really.
We have a question from Tim as well. A question on ageism and how is that treated within the industry. Is an artist's age taken into account by A&Rs and labels, etc., when submitting tracks or demos? And if so, is there anything older artists can do to level the playing field versus young talent?
From my personal experience, I'd say absolutely not. Like, I mean, I've probably not experienced it, but I think age is just a number, and like at the end of the day, there's not really a section where it's highlighted like how old someone is on the platform. So I think it's more just sometimes like with having your Instagram profile link, because I know now quite a few labels do actually have a system where they'll look at like follower count, and like they'll want someone to have a certain amount of followers, which personally I don't really agree with, because they just want to sell records at the end of the day. So they think if someone's got 40,000 followers, then they will sign it with them instead, and it might not be the best track ever. But I've realized this with some labels, not to name any names, but like you listen to music that's been released on it, and it's not anywhere near the quality of what it used to be, but it's a big name. So yeah, that's probably more of an issue, I reckon, than the age part. I think just send it out and don't have any doubts with it, and just send it to everybody that you think would sign it, and see how it goes.
I mean, I was sending last year, I was sending some, let's say, rather sophisticated tracks to a really, really cool house label. Until then, I thought they were really cool from Germany, like they are actually quite massive. And then to get an email back from the guy, it's like, and I mean, I know it's a serious guy and I have a huge respect for him. I won't name drop, but it was just he came then with the attitude, hey, Timo, I don't even need to listen to this stuff because, I'm not going to release unknown artists here that don't even have 50,000 followers. He told me. And
that's crazy.
I mean, it's like, and I mean, it's not an ego thing. I'm not an unknown artist. I'm an experienced artist, and we know each other also. Yeah. And we met on a very high, sophisticated kind of level when we met like years ago. And Elisabetta, that was our tracks basically that I sent him last year. And I don't know if you remember, but we were getting like this refusal. And I mean, thanks God it was like that, because we found a very good home on Nima Gorchi's label then, in my opinion, this fantastic remix from Nima. But it's like the attitude that came in was like, I'm not following the label anymore. I'm just like, it's just like I lost completely all respect. Great music they release, really, I have to say. But this attitude from someone who always says art first, because this is what they promote. Art first, this, blah, 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 quality, this and that. And then like an unknown artist, no 50,000, fuck off. It's like, I mean, this magic 50,000, I have 49,300, I was checking today. So I'm close to that. Maybe that changes my career. I don't know. At least the algorithm on Instagram. But yeah, it's also, Harry, I agree with you completely. When the it's an attitude also that you are, the more research you do, the more you can find out about it. And when you sense the real thing that also reflects your approach with the music, then you should go there. If there's I always say a smaller label that loves your shit and supports your shit is so much more worth it than being track number 17 on a drum code compilation, because in the end of the day, the next week there's another drum code compilation coming, and so on and so on. You're a product for literally and drum code also as an example, but you're a product for 2-3 weeks, and that's it. And when you have rather a smaller label that just makes a strategy together with you, makes, we really love your artistical approach. We really love that. We are really interested to give you a platform and work together on like growing this platform. And even they are a small label, it's so much more worth it, and it's just so much more authentic. And I think this is also one thing that we are trying to be with Suru, and you too. Now I learned also is like being authentic, yeah, and also support people being authentic, because then it's real, and then no matter what music style, but you can feel that. The best business card I hear from any musician is the music. We can have the best conversations. I need to listen to the music, and then then I resonate or I don't. Yeah. And but even if I don't, I kick your ass and tell you what would make me resonate. It's like then this is why I come into the game.
Yeah, I think that's why obviously Trackstack and Suru hit it off so well straight away. Was just obviously both everyone's ethos was just the same. It's like giving back to the everyday artist and giving them the tools to grow. Like I think that was from the original call that just me and Dan had, was just like it was so refreshing just to have a conversation with someone who was on exactly the same page. Yeah, it was really good. Looking forward to it.
There's a question from Christian. Actually, it's related to smaller labels. So he's released on some great labels very early on, and after that he released with less known labels, and the experience was not great because he lost momentum and got less and less sales, and reached less sales and popularity of his first releases. So now it's hard to get signed by established records for him, and he feels they want you to be popular already, or played by DJs. So many labels sign tracks that are already played by some DJs. What is your take on these matters?
So I'll start with the last point first about the promo. I think if your track's already being played out by a lot of big people, then it sort of already gives it that notoriety, and like people want to like also own it because someone big's being played out, which I totally understand. But then I think also with like the smaller labels, it depends, because I mean I've had releases with medium level labels that have done absolutely no promotion whatsoever, and it's been left to me to fully push it. And I've also I've just signed to a reasonably small label. It's coming out end of April, and the level like of their promo, like everything they've done, they've been giving like reports of like everyone that's downloaded it with promo packs through different services, and it's like so professional. And also one thing I noticed as well is like the pitching Spotify for artists. He straight away pitched that, and I didn't have to do it myself, which was quite like, it was weird. I messaged him, I was like, oh, you already pitched it? And he said, of course I have. Like, isn't that what all labels do? And actually it isn't, because out of the 30 releases I've had now, I think he's the only one that have actually done that for me. So I think you can find good in small labels. It just depends which ones, and I think it's just good to note down which ones, or maybe speak to people that have released on that label before and just sort of check with them and see what they think and what their experience is of actually signing with them.
I can also recommend patience with this, as you said that before, when you get denials, okay, this is what it is. When you have something great, sometimes you need to search a little bit longer. The best music is anyway something that is not just like hanging on a trend for 3 months. It's rather, it can work today, but it can also work in a year. And however, because it's a unique kind of thing, and I honestly have a bunch of releases here ready, and we're working on new stuff and so on and so on. It's like, it's not even, let's say, Maas is knocking on the door, makes things easier. No. Not at all. Harry, we have to have a meeting regarding this.
Yeah, definitely.
I need some tips for labels. But in the end of the day, it's daily business for us. No matter what great quality we produce, it's like we have to find the right place. We have to find the right. Also with you, Christian, I understand that with the small labels, but this is what Harry just like explained. You have small labels that it's cool people behind it, but in the actual execution of like being a platform for an artist, one is better than the others. And then to find also, you could find small labels that are very engaged and very, very, very euphoric and so on. I know, Elisabetta, you have experience with that, and Harry is just like telling us about the experience. Patience in finding those places and putting more really personality into that, Christian. It's like I read this a little bit out of you. We met also, so I know slightly a bit. This the personal touch is really, is like, this is the magic in the end of the day. Because I know, for example, it's a fact, Christian, you're an awesome producer. The stuff that you're making is like really fucking good. But it's not the typical Beatport top 10 thing. So it's like true story. I always take care that none of my shit is a typical Beatport top 10 thing for whatever reason. Because I put art always first and not just like, kind of like selling my soul or fitting into Afro house or whatever is just hip at the moment. It's hard work. It's hard work. It's hard dedication. It's like, you share a bit of your person, because you, Christian, also, I know you, and with all the other people also, there's personality also behind that. And when you're able to transport this personality combined with great quality music, it's, in Germany we say, die halbe Miete ist drin, half of the rent is in, It's
Yeah.
like, because this is what's it all about. In the end of the day, when I listen to music, I try to not care what is presented to me. It's just, I always try, and it's not so easy really after all those years, but I always try to be curious. And I mean, again, my example was my roughly 500 promo emails I get a week, plus all the music I'm listening in the other parts of my profession. It's a fuckload of music. I'm still curious. I really have to say, I'm 56. I'm still curious, and I really do celebrate that when I find like great tracks, if it's demos, if it's promos, or anything like that. Frankly, it's less than 10% of my promos are interesting for me, for the simple reason they are not unique.
Yeah, a lot of chop and change.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very simple reason.
I find that as well, but then I think that with my own music, I've been told before, like it's really creative, I love it, but when I'm trying to mix it into like a set, like it doesn't sound the same as everything else, and it's like the whole
It
reason
does.
I've made it. Yeah,
It does. I
yeah,
tried it
but
out several times. It does. You just
I,
have to position
I,
it well.
I also think that is because you are like an elite tier DJ. I think these people that are coming back from these labels, like when I listen to the mix that you sent me, I can't even mix that track in that good. Like I was mesmerized. I couldn't even hear the changeover of my own track coming in. I was like, what? It's like, it was great. And I think, yeah, some people now just want to sort of curate these sets where it's just like everything kind of sounds the same with a few bits coming out here and there. But actually, like the creative aspect is just do you, and then if someone wants to sign it, they will. I think, yeah, that's just. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a storyteller, but this is what I like also from other people, from other DJs and also producers. Ideally, I want a story to be told, and that can happen in a great track. And doesn't matter what kind of music style, or obviously in the DJ set. That's why I love to play long DJ sets also, because I'm taking those great tools that I'm having and try to tell this part of my story then in the set. So I see this rather. I'm not serving a sound, I'm serving a story, basically. And this is in the music production the same. And things that I get on this level of quality and deepness, editing, arranging, and so on, they resonate with me, all of them. Doesn't matter if it's techno with 140 BPM, or if it's downbeat with 100 BPM, or if it's experimental or so. I really, I'm looking for those diamonds. I'm still hungry. Sorry for. Still
Harry,
love that.
one question in regards to the small labels that are actually bringing quality in terms of promo as well. Is there a way of how to pinpoint those, how to research those labels to know, okay, they are actually a small label, but they're probably going to take care of the promo well and everything?
I'd say the best way would be to ask someone that's already had a release on there. So, go through the discography on Spotify, for example, and just have a look at the artists and reach out to them and just say, hi, I'm looking to release on this label. Would you give me any examples? I found when I sort of got a list of labels that I wanted to release on together, it was going through my favorite artists, scrolling right to the bottom of the Spotify and just looking what their first releases were on, and then listening to their sound, sort of being like, do I like this? Reaching out to the artist possibly and asking them, have you had any experience? Like, was it good or not? Because I learned the hard way from 20 releases, and the first year I got a track signed, which was 2024, and I thought, oh, it's amazing. I'm going to be playing every weekend. I'm going to sell loads on Beatport. I can quit my full-time job at the time, which was working in ventilation sales, and it just didn't work like that. I think one of the releases got number one on Beatport in the minimal deep charts, and the reason it got in there is because I was selling it to everybody. Like, I think I sent like 400 messages out on Facebook asking like people that I've not spoke to from school, like if they'd buy the track. And I was in the barber shop getting a haircut, and I got like 10 people that was waiting and sat in the chairs, and the barber himself, all to buy my track. It was like, and then I looked and it was number one, and I've not done that since. I've not had a number one since. So I think it's really how much effort you put in at the end of the day. So yeah, I think you can only really talk from experience, and you kind of learn which ones are the labels you release with again, and the ones that you wouldn't. I think it's just you've got to experience it yourself, or ask someone that's already experienced it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a lot of artists out there, and it's such a lot of labels also in reality out there. And everyone who declares a label has a label. Yeah. It doesn't mean it's the same if you would have a label infrastructure behind that. Yeah. I mean, it's so many, so much. Again, uniqueness, high quality production, no matter what music style, uniqueness, like something that you can be recognized for, is like the key to everything. No one can give you a guarantee, Christian. Also, even I mean, I speak to let's say quite famous people also on a daily basis, colleagues, and a lot of them also, not a lot, quite a few of them are, even they're famous and they're traveling, and it's like they have releases on big labels and so on and so on. They're kind of like, they're a bit afraid, feared of, like, that they more and more lose the platform for their art. This is another reason why we are also, having, and will grow our network on Suru, because it doesn't matter. I always say it doesn't matter. I'm on the same piece of paper as you, Christian, as you, Pavel. It's just that, for relevance in today, being recognized in today, it's a lot of work. And no matter if you have, I mean, hey, I can write books about my career. It's interesting and cool, but who gives a fuck in the end of the day? It's great to discover, yeah. And also it's great to, especially from, like, everyone's younger than me here, so get from the younger people, positive feedback and so on and so on. But the reality of the daily business is, we all have to work very, very hard to be recognized, especially in this myriads of, like, talents and not so talented also, and labels and so on and so on. It's hard work. It's the help is for the label side, artist side, also for the reaches. This is what you guys are there for also. And it's amazing that there is a service for that, because again, I feel helpless also sometimes. My daily problems are your daily problems. It's like I'm trying to make great music and I'm trying to sell it for the best visibility nowadays, not for the best sales, for the best visibility. Where do I have the best visibility without selling myself? Blah, blah, blah. Like, best visibility in context with reputation of a label. Because, again, another thing, what is a label? What is a label today? We all want to be connected to something and don't know the infrastructure, but we know their reputation. So we want to take part of their reputation also. So I think one of the most important things is exactly that. It's like, this is probably the most important thing why you want to connect to a certain label. Yeah. And then when you're lucky, you have You have a great reputation, and you have also someone who's working great behind the scenes to give you the theoretical visibility and the reputation that you're also expecting, giving you a great product to them, that you get something back.
Yeah,
it's a lot more complex, to be very honest, but I think the rough direction, what you have to take care of, I guess that's crystal clear. Quality, personality, all that.
I think the simplest way to put it is, from everyone I've spoke to, there's a strong correlation between success and hard work, and that's as simple as you can put it, really. Because a lot of people would look up and think, "Oh my God, they've had it easy," but you never know what goes on behind the scenes. And I think even just from getting to the level where I've got now, it's like the amount of work I've put in, and it's kind of like, the image where the guy's climbing the mountain and he thinks he's found the top, and then he pulls himself up and there's a mountain 10 times as big straight after it. I think that's happened so many times where I'm like, right, I've done it now, this is going to be the one, and then you get there and think, oh wow, it's even harder than I thought it was going to be. So it's like
I know also I can sometimes I have such finally even I find a great label and have so much expectations also with all my experience. I try to have no expectations, and then eventually after months and months and so on, the release is happening, and you get the plays, get the respect, get fantastic DJ feedback, but then gone after 4 weeks, or no playlist anymore. After 6 weeks, anything like that, and then you also put sometimes months into a production like that, and it's also, there's even no success guarantee when you have the big label, the cool big label with a great reputation.
Yeah, I think as well, I was having a
It's a gamble.
conversation. Yeah, it is massively. I think as well, it's kind of the generation we're in at the moment with like TikTok and everything. You've got a video for 3 seconds and you scroll past it. I think maybe 10 years ago, a track was relevant for 3 months, and before that, probably like a couple of years. But now it's like the big stuff that gets to number one within a week, usually it's not there anymore because something else has been brought up and people want to listen to something new, and that is obviously kind of an issue. But yeah, I think it's just kind of the generation we're in. I don't really have an answer to how that can be solved, really.
I mean, there's of course, there's not just the tendency, because this is what we all, we talk about this every day, like with music business nowadays, it goes very extreme into the, let's say, commercialism of everything. But then on the other hand, is like, I recognize more and more noise from the other end, like, I don't want to say a revolution, but there is a lot of underground stuff, appreciation for great music, appreciation for great DJs, appreciation for art. It's bubbling everywhere, and people, that really love clubbing and not just holding their mobile phones up and don't even feel what we all know, what you feel when you're on the dance floor, when you connect to the music. It's just like the kids, I don't want to say the kids, a lot of people don't know that anymore. But there is, it's like, happily, I'm recognizing that more and more there is a lot bubbling in the so-called underground to bring, focus back into that, what it's all about. I mean, in the end of the day, we love clubbing and we love like club music here. And that's the reason why we do this every day and why we are so dedicated with all that. Always be patient. Don't let anyone like make you feel bitter or anything like that. We have a dream. It's an artistical dream. Let's try to, fulfill it, really, in the end of the day. Hard work. I repeat myself, hard work, always. And if you need advice, you get advice also out of the community. So without a shadow of a doubt.
Harry, one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Because it's also about today, about after you've hit send. So I'm curious, like, what in particular to do after versus before, or what's important, how to build relationships after, or what should be done before, kind of thing, just to kind of roll on that.
Yeah, so I think obviously, like I mentioned mainly on before, is like doing your research, making sure you know who you're sending to, what releases they've got, but afterwards as well is like follow-ups. So I mean, I wouldn't be following up the next day or even the next week, but give it a couple of weeks time and then maybe just reach back to them, just be like, hey, obviously within within Trackstack platform, you can actually click on the track, and if replies are enabled, you can comment under your track, or you can send a revision. And if you can comment in there and just be like, "Hi, what did you think of the track? Did you like it?" I've found a lot of times this does actually speed people up because they'll get a notification that you've commented on it, and that can also help afterwards to actually get a reply. And also as well, I think with like just sending promo out like consistently. So like once you've sent it, just follow up with something else. Like, hope you like the last track. Here's another one. So A&Rs are busy, I think, and if you're consistently sending them stuff, you're going to definitely be on their radar more. Like if your name's in their inbox 3 times more than once, they're going to see it 3 times, aren't they? So it's going to resonate more, and that plus the connection building is just massive.
Especially when the quality is great.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like quality needs to be great, and averageness is nothing anyone is looking for. I always said the motherfucker of a track will never be, refused by a label, as long as the A&R is listening to that. Yeah, but you have to make the motherfucker of a track.
Yeah, they're halfway there then.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys.
Any more questions for anyone here, or final thoughts?
I guess we gave a little. Harry, thank you so much. Maria, thank you so much for asking the right questions here.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
I would say there's a whole bunch of interesting things also from our meeting last week. So like whoever is watching that, so we also have the recording of last week, because one thing connects very well with the other. And if you really want to rethink your strategy, I guess it's a good idea then to watch both and just if you have further questions, ask them in the group. That's where we are, and this is where you find us basically every day.
Perfect. Yeah, I think to wrap up, I think the 3 tips I'd give mainly are hard work, be authentic, just do you, and then also as well, I think like just not listening to that inner voice that says you can't do it. Just say, if you think it's half decent, think it's really good, send it. Don't
trust your instinct.
Exactly. I think there's a phrase that like the best music is still on someone's hard drive somewhere because they're just too scared to send it out. So just send it.
Oh, I know a whole bunch of people also even on the platform that are afraid of uploading that on the platform because they think they are not good enough.
Yeah,
I know people with like a fucking insane output with absolutely highest quality, and they're not uploading. I'm kicking their ass, I can assure you. But it's like they just so insecure about because they don't get feedback. This is where the insecurity comes from, we're working on that.
Yeah, I call it your inner creative demon. But I also think as well, like, a label will not sign it if it's rubbish. So if the feeling of you're scared that a label's going to sign it and it's going to be everywhere and no one's going to like it, then a label will pretty much 99% of the time only sign it if it's really if it's good, they really like it. So there's that censor check level of it anyway. The worst they can do is just say no with a quick reply on Trackstack. So yeah, just send it out.
Amazing. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Maria.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on this today. Part 2 was really, really valuable.
Thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Harry, we talk the next days anyways. Everyone else, we see each other anyways. And you take care. Thank you for attending.
No worries, thank you.
Then we got to put the recording online then for the rest of the crew. Because
Harry,
I know Americans are working, the Asians are sleeping.
Yeah. And Harry, you're in Mallorca as well, are you?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that'll be great.
Okay, lucky you.
Fantastic.
Very nice.
Great.
Very nice.
No, thank you.
Right.
Thank you to everyone that turned up, and thank you very much for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Ciao.
Ciao.